This is the Arturia MiniLab 37, and the question in the title is a genuine one. Is this actually one of the best live looping controllers you can buy right now, or does it just look like one? I broke this down into 5 categories that actually matter for live looping, and one little extra you see in the end. Let's start with the most obvious one, the keys you're actually playing on. 12 extra keys doesn't sound like much until you have to play, for example, a piano part that needs more than 2 octaves. I experienced several situations in which I had to hit the octave shift on the MPK Mini 4 mid-song when I had to reach the next chord. And the extra octave makes that far less likely here. But there is also something worth knowing. The MiniLab 37 doesn't fit in my backpack. It sticks out a good bit, so you either need a bigger bag or you need to fall back to the smaller keyboards when you're traveling. That's an actual trade-off. Feel-wise, the keys are a bit on the firmer side, not as soft as the MPK ones, but that comes down to personal preference, and in the end, I'm fine with both. The MiniLab 37 comes with a different pad layout than, for example, the MiniLab 3. So it is now more in line with the MPK Mini 4 because you don't have a row 1x8 but 2x4 pad rows. That way it is more compact for finger drumming, for controlling your DAW with less movement between the pads. The MiniLab's pads feel a touch softer than the MPK ones and maybe a bit more responsive. But that's nuance and personal taste. The 8 encoders feel genuinely high quality. Almost stiff, what I prefer live, because you're less likely to change and mess up your parameters by accident mid-song. The 4 faders are fine, but could use a bit more resistance in my opinion, but that's not a complaint. Next up, how deep does the DAW-Control for live looping and beyond that actually go? With Shift and the prog pad, you actually change between Arturia's analog lab mode and a dedicated DAW-Control mode. In my case, that's Ableton, but other DAWs work too. We'll get to that in a moment. When you're in the DAW mode, your best friend is the Shift button plus the encoder. When you're holding Shift, you can switch between the tracks, and when you hit the encoder, you can unarm or arm tracks. And turning the encoder without holding Shift lets you change the scene. From here, your pads launch or record clips directly in session mode like that. No manual MIDI mapping required. Just plug in your cable and you should be good to go. In case there is a problem, you could check the MIDI settings. I'll show you my Ableton setup here. If you hit Shift plus the pad button, you get into a dedicated drum mode. And if you have a track with a drum rack in Ableton, you can now use the pads to play in this drum mode. A real difference to the MPK Mini 4 is actually the way you are arming tracks. On the MiniLab, you need to hit Shift and scroll through the tracks and arm each individually. But on the MPK Mini, there is actually a dedicated arm mode. In this mode, you can arm up to 4 tracks simultaneously by hitting the pads. But have in mind that exclusive arm needs to be disabled in Ableton. So why is this important? If you're layering loops across several tracks live, the speed difference by just hitting 4 pads or click through the pads and arm them individually can come into effect. Same story with the transport. By default, there is no separate transport section. Play, stop and record sit behind the Shift function. But the MiniLab offers the possibility to activate a dedicated transport section. For this, you need to hold Shift plus the pad button, and now you see the section is permanent. But this mode replaces the clip control while it's activated. And if you want to overdub a clip, Shift plus the pad with the red button lets you add another layer into a looping clip. On the MPK Mini, for comparison, there is a dedicated session record button, so no Shift is required. The MPK also has a dedicated undo button that's genuinely useful when you're practicing and a part just didn't land. Just one button tap and it's gone. That button, sadly, is still missing on the MiniLab. This isn't just an Ableton thing. The MiniLab 37 offers integration with several DAWs, Cubase, Logic, FL Studio, Bitwig. And for other compatible software, it can fall back to MCU, a universal DAW protocol. Both come with a quite solid software package to get started. Ableton Live Lite, and Native Instruments Complete Bundle either way. The MiniLab also ships with the Analog Lab Intro, and the MPK Mini 4 comes with Akai's Studio Instrument Collection. Analog Lab leans heavily into Arturia's specialty, emulations of classic synth and keyboards. Akai Studio Instrument Collection combines over 1,000 presets across drums, basses, keyboards and synthesizers. But neither is bad, and it shouldn't be the most important factor in your decision. So, is the MiniLab 37 the best live looping keyboard of 2026? Not quite. The MPK Mini 4 is still the more immediate live looping controller. Dedicated transport, faster multitrack arming and an undo button give you an advantage in a live situation. But the MiniLab is the better compact keyboard. The extra octave changes what you can play. The encoders feel more substantial and the faders give you a lot of hands-on control. So the choice is actually simple. If live looping speed comes first, I'd take the MPK Mini. But if 25 keys are getting in your way and you still want serious DAW control, I'd take the MiniLab 37. And if you want a closer look at live looping with the MPK Mini 4, watch this video next. Which one would you choose? More keys or more hands-on control? Let me know below. So, see you in the next one and make more music.